My father always blamed my sister for my mother's death. But now that my little sister calls me Daddy, he regrets it. I'm a 24-year-old man, and I'm the older brother of my little sister, who is 5. I was always the one who had to take care of her. For privacy, I'll call her Belle. To give some background, my parents had me when they were teenagers, just 15 and 16 years old. Even as a child, I could feel that they regretted having me. After I was born, both my mother and father were basically disowned by their families. My mom had to leave high school to take care of me, while my dad worked 2 jobs just to provide for us. Even then, they couldn't afford their own place. We lived with my mother's older sister until I was 9 years old. Later, my father got his GED and found a better job, which helped us move out. Even though our living situation improved, I could still tell that they believed their lives had been ruined because of me. Whenever I acted out like any normal child, they'd remind me how they gave up everything for me, and yet I still had the nerve to misbehave. Even when I didn't misbehave, they rarely showed me love. I hardly ever got new clothes. They usually bought second-hand items from Goodwill. They refused to buy me anything nice unless they absolutely had to. My birthdays, holidays, and even their wedding didn't feel special for me. My birthdays were usually just a cupcake and one gift. Never anything I truly wanted. Despite everything, I was still a child who just wanted their love. But as I got older, I accepted that I wouldn't receive it and eventually made peace with that. I think somewhere along the way, when my parents noticed that I had stopped hoping for their love, they, especially my mother, started treating me a little better. But by then, I was no longer the same child who desperately needed their attention. I had never really felt their love, and I stopped expecting it. I can't say I continued to hate them though. Over time, my feelings just became neutral. To me, we were like strangers. I never truly got to know them. They raised me with just the basics and never had real conversations with me. They didn't spend quality time with me, and they knew almost nothing about who I was. So when they suddenly started trying to act like real parents, it just felt awkward. When I turned 18, my mother got pregnant again. I guess that's when they gave up trying to fix things with me, because they had another chance to start fresh with a new child. They didn't go back to treating me badly, but it felt like we were just people living in the same house. When I was 19, my mom gave birth to a baby girl. But sadly, due to complications, she didn't survive. This broke my father. He began to resent me, not just because I wasn't as heartbroken as he was, but also because he blamed the baby for my mother's death. She had barely been a mother to me, so I didn't feel much grief. But my father took it personally. He was rarely home after that and started drinking a lot. I was left alone to take care of my little sister. Eventually, I had to take a break from college. I came home one day to find my sister crying from hunger, wearing a diaper that hadn't been changed all day, while my father was out drinking. I took care of Belle full-time and confronted my father many times, but he always got angry and ended the conversation by saying I could leave Belle at the fire station if I didn't want to take care of her. Eventually, I stopped trying to make him act like a father. Despite everything, I truly loved Belle. She was the sweetest and most adorable child, always smiling and, surprisingly, sleeping through the night. As soon as she was old enough, I enrolled her in daycare and continued my education while working night shifts. I always made sure to keep my afternoons free so I could spend time with her. Belle always knew who her real father was. As she grew older, she tried to spend time with him, following him around the house. But that didn't last long. One day he yelled at her, and from then on, she started to fear him. I realized she saw me as a parent, even though she knew I was her brother. When she started preschool, I found out she was telling others that I was her dad. I never brought it up with her, I just let it be. But one day, she gave me the Father's Day card she made in preschool. That's when I told her, "If you want, you can call me Dad." From that day on, she started calling me Daddy. Later, my father got a girlfriend and began to change. He stopped drinking, got a better job, and even started paying most of the household bills, except for the part one agreed to pay to continue living there. Still, he never truly tried to be a father to Belle. He began having breakfast with us, but those mornings were mostly silent, except for me and Belle chatting. A few months ago on Belle's birthday, I planned a party and invited her preschool class. My father showed up, probably because his girlfriend thought it would be a good time to meet his daughter. She seemed more excited to be there than he did. While Belle was opening gifts, I surprised her with one of those electric cars for kids. She screamed with joy, hugged me, said she loved me, and called me Daddy. After the party, once Belle was asleep, my father asked me, "What the hell was that?" I didn't understand at first, so I stayed quiet. Then he yelled, asking why his daughter was calling me Daddy. I asked him if he honestly didn't know why. I told him I was the one who raised her. I bought her clothes, celebrated her milestones, and never abandoned her. He didn't respond and went straight to bed. Since then he's tried to act like a father, talking to her, sitting with her, but to her he's a stranger. Belle is a kind and gentle girl, so she entertained his attempts at conversation. But it was obvious how uncomfortable she felt, and he could see it too. Clearly hurt him. As selfish as it might be, I don't want their relationship to grow. Just like she sees me as her dad, I see her as my daughter. I've graduated from college now and am looking for a better job so I can move Belle and me into our own home. Maybe it's wrong, but I feel a bit of satisfaction seeing my father regret everything. He missed the chance to build a bond with his daughter, and now it's too late. But no matter what, I'll never be as bad as he was. Edit. Thank you all for the support and advice. As some of you suggested, I might delete this post soon to prevent my father from finding it before I'm ready for a custody battle. I appreciate everyone's help. I know it was risky sharing this, but I've never had anyone to talk to about these things. Felt good to let it out for the first time. Story 2. My wife said she'd rather be 80-year-old herself than 20-year-old my girlfriend, and it haunts me. My wife and I were high school sweethearts. We're both 40 now and have been together for 25 years. We have 2 daughters, ages 5 and 6. For the past 5 years, I kept wondering if we were only still together because we had grown up side by side. Then, in 2008, I met someone new at work. I know I'm 12 years older than her, but she was beautiful, charming, and felt like the change I wanted in my life. Instead of ending my marriage the right way, I cheated and got caught. My wife handled it with surprising grace, but she didn't want to be with me anymore. That was a year ago. I moved out and rented an apartment. Neither of us has started divorce proceedings, and honestly, I haven't wanted to. But my girlfriend isn't happy about it, mainly because I left our big house, which I inherited from my grandparents and parents, to my wife and daughters. That house is worth a lot today. To me, it is a family home because my family lives there. But my girlfriend believes that once we divorce, my wife should have no claim to it. 3 weeks ago, my girlfriend and I dropped off my daughters at their mom's place. Despite my clear request not to, my girlfriend brought up the house in front of my wife. She said the house belonged to me and that it was time for my wife to move on. My wife looked confused and replied that the house belonged to her and the girls. Then my girlfriend insulted her, calling her a bitter old woman. My wife calmly smiled and asked, "Is your age your only strength? Because that won't last." Then she said something I can't stop thinking about. "I'd rather be 80-year-old me than 20-year-old you." She wasn't angry or bitter. And she isn't old either. She's the same age as me, 40. But what she said hit me hard. I felt ashamed and disappointed in myself. My girlfriend acted immaturely and embarrassed me. I've been unhappy for months. But if I leave my girlfriend now, it feels like I destroyed my family for nothing. The next day, my wife called and said maybe it was time to talk about divorce. I broke down crying as soon as the call ended. Now, every time I see her, I just want to hold her and cry. I think about being 80 years old, sitting beside her, just like we always imagined when we saw elderly couples holding hands or sharing a kiss. We used to say, "That will be us someday." Now I know. I'd rather have 80-year-old her than 20-year-old anyone else. But I've ruined it.